Trouble doesn't always arrive with a bang. It doesn't need loud arguments, public fights, or plots of revenge. Sometimes the deepest kind of trouble comes quietly, almost invisibly, not because it's hidden, but because it's so carefully planned. Machiavelli, a sharp observer of human nature, understood this better than anyone. He knew that to truly overcome someone, you don't face them head-on. You make them trip over their own feet. You don't throw punches. You give them plenty of rope. You don't attack their position. You might even let them climb higher, just so their fall is bigger and more public. The moment you react to an attack, you've stepped onto their playing field. And reacting, in this game, is a sign of weakness. But when you refuse to react, when you stay calm and still while they shout, mock, and try to get a rise out of you, you starve them, not of your attention, but of the energy they need to keep going. Like a fire without enough air, their anger slowly dies out. Chapter 1. Your first tool, the power of stillness. Here's how this quiet power works. Imagine someone insults you, shows you disrespect, or tries to make you look bad in front of others. Most people would lash out, get emotional, or try to defend themselves with words. But Machiavelli would see this as a golden chance, because he knew real control starts when you stop reacting. Your goal isn't to fight. Your goal is to stand so calmly, so quietly, so unaffected, that everything they do just bounces back onto them. Their actions become a mirror, showing everyone their own flaws and desperation, while you remain silent. This is your first and most powerful tool, stillness. Stillness isn't doing nothing. It's a type of strength that confuses your opponent. They expect you to make noise, to get angry, to get upset, so they can point and say, see, they're clearly unstable. But when you don't give them that reaction, they start to look unstable. The more they talk, the more desperate they seem. The more they try to explain themselves, the more guilty they look. The more they try to provoke you, the less important they become. Because the moment someone has to try hard to convince others of their power, they've already lost it. Machiavelli turned this idea of how people see things into a weapon. He didn't need to win arguments. He let his enemies argue with themselves, in public, feeling confused and desperate, until no one believed them anymore. And when the dust settled, he wasn't just left standing. He was respected even more. If you believe in this message of self-mastery, subscribe now and join our community of thinkers. Chapter 2. Starving the fire, removing their fuel. Now let's learn how to use this calm strategy with real skill. Imagine someone says something bad about you in front of other people. Don't flinch, don't reply, don't even show surprise. Instead, take a breath and just calmly look at them, not with anger. Just observe. Let the silence hang in the air for a moment too long. Let the awkwardness settle around their words. Then, simply change the topic. Start talking to someone else. Act as if they never said a word. You've just changed the whole mood of the room. They expected a fight. You gave them nothing. And in that moment, you sent the clearest message of all. You are not important enough to upset my peace. Everyone sees this. Even if they don't fully understand what happened, they feel it. Something has shifted. You didn't get angry. You didn't give in. You didn't ask for approval. You controlled the quiet. And in that quiet, their importance started to shrink. Here's the secret. Most people don't actually want to beat you. They want to control what others think about you. They want to make you look weak, feel ashamed, appear out of control. So, you completely change the game. You give them nothing to use against you, and everything they say starts to bounce back on them, making them look bad. Let them talk. Let them explain. Let them complain, accuse, point fingers. While they're busy making noise, you quietly do real damage. You stop including them in important discussions. You stop giving them information. You slowly pull back your energy, your presence, your approval. No big announcements, no angry messages, just a quiet removal. And what's left is a person trying to cause trouble with no one to cause trouble with. They'll panic. They'll try even harder to get a reaction. They'll shout louder. And the louder they get, the more foolish they look, because you're not even playing their game anymore. Machiavelli understood that letting your enemy keep talking is powerful. Not so you can reply, but so they can expose themselves. You don't need to defend yourself. You let others watch and make up their own minds. Because in the battle for public opinion, whoever looks most out of control loses, even if they think they're winning the small arguments. This isn't one small fight. It's a longer game of how you're seen, how things are framed, and who has the psychological advantage. You don't destroy them with force. You destroy them by being their exact opposite. You stay calm, they fall apart. You speak slowly, they stumble. You move on, they obsess over you. And eventually, everyone around them starts to see that this person isn't a danger. They're just a warning sign, not because of what you said, but because of what you never had to say at all. Chapter 3: The Unseen Hand, Making Their Attacks Irrelevant. Destroying someone without attacking them isn't just a trick. It's a way of dealing with conflict so that your power isn't shown off, it's simply felt. Anyone can lash out, but only those with true control can make someone collapse without ever laying a hand on them. This is the next level of smart strategy. Use their need for attention against them. Your enemy craves your reaction, not because they're strong, but because they feel empty inside. Disrespect, trying to provoke you, spreading rumors, these aren't signs of strength. They're signs of a deep need, a need for attention, a need to matter at your expense. So when they target you, it's not really about you. It's about them trying to steal your energy, your name, your good standing. And here's how you completely take away their power without fighting back. You let them chase your shadow until they get tired and give up. You say nothing. You do nothing. And you keep moving forward, in public and in private, with quiet strength. You keep building your projects. You keep creating new things. You stay focused on your own goals, ignoring their noise. And what happens? With every attempt, they look smaller. They start to look obsessed, unstable, and unsure of themselves. You've changed the whole story from you fighting them to them desperately chasing you. And nothing makes someone look weaker than that. This was Machiavelli's genius. He understood that attention is a powerful tool. And once you know someone wants it more than you do, you have power over them. You create a wall of silence around them. You stop saying their name. You never speak badly of them, not because you're a good person, but because it's a smart move. Every time they talk about you, and you say nothing, their voice starts to sound hollow and alone. People start to wonder why they're always focused on someone who isn't even bothering to reply. They start to think something is wrong with the attacker. Doubt begins to grow, and in Machiavellian terms, doubt is the beginning of ruin. Because once their trustworthiness is questioned, everything they say starts to lose its value. And that's when you act, not with anger, but by showing a clear difference. You show up calm, well-dressed, speaking clearly, delivering good results. You are undisturbed, unfazed, and completely unbothered by their noise. Meanwhile, they stumble, rant, and desperately try to stay important by talking about you. And without you doing a thing, the gap between you and them grows wider. They wanted to hurt your reputation, but by trying to do so, they showed how much you truly matter and how little they matter without you. That's how you truly overcome someone without attacking them. You simply become the clear proof that they are the ones who are no longer important. Chapter 4: The Master Gardener, Weeding Out Hidden Threats. Now, let's go deeper. Not everyone will attack you openly. Some will work in the shadows. They'll smile to your face but secretly plant seeds of doubt in private. They'll make your actions seem selfish, your success unfair, your intentions bad. These enemies aren't looking for a big fight. They're looking to slowly, quietly wear you down. This is where most people make a mistake. They try to explain themselves to everyone. They try to correct every rumor. But the more you explain, the more you make the rumor seem real. Machiavelli would never do that. He would use the attacker's own actions to set a trap. So here's what you do. You become more visible, not less. You build your good name through your actions. You perform excellently in front of the very people they're whispering to. You speak clearly in meetings. You make bold, smart moves in public. You show everyone that you are consistent, honest, and calm, without ever mentioning their name. Why? Because you're letting the people watching compare you to the bad stories being told about you. And when your actions don't match their story, the storyteller becomes the liar. That's when their plan falls apart. And you didn't have to expose them. They exposed themselves by assuming your silence meant you were guilty. But your silence was never weakness. It was a careful plan. You were letting them make the rope, and now they're caught in it. This is the ultimate way to win a psychological battle. You don't need them to actually lose everything. You just need them to lose you. You step out of their reach. You move forward without them. And you let their focus on you slowly rot away in the dark. They tried to hurt you by pulling you down. Instead, they've trapped themselves in their own bitterness while you keep growing. And everyone can see it. Because power never needs to shout. It just needs to remain standing, strong and calm. Winning, when done right, doesn't look like an explosion. It looks like quiet around a name that used to be important. It looks like no one caring anymore, like their importance just vanishing. It's a quiet removal of power that no one can easily point to, but everyone can feel. That's why Machiavelli never told people to rush into war. He taught them to become so essential, so visible with good work, so clearly skilled, that anyone who tried to harm them would end up harming themselves instead. This is your third weapon, showing their lies through your strong actions. You don't attack someone's character. You simply live your life in a way that proves everything they say about you is wrong. If they say you're boastful, be calm, thoughtful, and generous. If they say you're not good enough, deliver excellent results with clear, steady effort. If they say you're tricky, be open, consistent, and controlled in public. You're not defending yourself. You're letting your life and your actions do all the talking. Because the more they talk, and the more you act in ways that are the opposite of their words, the more alone they become. People start to notice the difference. They start to doubt the bad stories. And over time, they stop listening to the person accusing you. Not because you fought back, but because you never even gave them the time of day. Chapter 5, Outgrowing the Imitators, Changing the Game. That's where the real impact happens. Not in public shame, but in becoming socially unimportant. Now let's go even deeper. Because some enemies are more clever than loud gossips. Some enemies are calculated. They won't insult you directly. They'll subtly try to be your competitor. They'll copy your moves, match your style, try to connect with your network. They won't attack you with harsh words. They'll try to steal your place. This is where most people panic. They feel their position is threatened, their ideas copied, their voice sounding less unique. But Machiavelli knew, when someone imitates you, they're not really a threat. They're actually trapped by you. They're admitting that your way is better than anything they could come up with on their own. So instead of fighting them, you speed up, you keep growing. You change the game so fast that by the time they copy one version of you, you've already become something new and different. You become impossible to catch, hard to predict. They keep chasing your shadow while you're playing a game they'll never truly understand. And slowly, painfully, they realize they don't have the original engine. They only have an echo. This is how you overcome someone who wants to become you. You raise your own standards higher. You find new ways to be important. You make your message clearer and stronger. You keep changing and moving forward so they can never quite catch up. And you never, ever mention their name. Because if you acknowledge them, you suggest there's a real race. If you ignore them, you show the truth. There was never a competition. Chapter 6, The Silent Throne, Outclassing the Arrogant. Now let's talk about the final type of opponent. The one who thinks they're better than you, who looks down on you, who believes they're completely safe. These are often the easiest to deal with, not with a direct fight, but with smart positioning. You wait, you watch, you listen carefully to how they talk when they think you're beneath them. And then you quietly build, not to prove a point, not to get revenge, but because nothing hurts a proud person more than being clearly outdone by someone they completely dismissed. You don't try to take their chair, you simply build a much better one right next to it. And when people start looking your way, when attention shifts to you, when their words no longer carry the same weight, that's when their power starts to crumble. Because pride is fragile, and proud people don't know how to exist without constant praise. The day that praise disappears, they often fall apart from the inside. And you never had to fight. You never spoke ill of them. You never tried to steal what they had. You simply became someone they could no longer ignore, and someone they'll never reach again. That's how you win. Without noise, without drama, without attacking. By simply proving that they were never strong to begin with. Sometimes, the most devastating thing you can do to an opponent is simply to continue. Continue winning. Continue growing. Continue building in silence while their anger and obsession with your downfall slowly takes over their own life. Because what Machiavelli understood and what most people never realize is this: the most complete defeat isn't physical, or about reputation, or even social standing. It's about taking away their very reason for being. You don't just outsmart someone, you make their attempts to hurt you completely unimportant. You turn their attacks into something silly, something laughable. You exist so far beyond their plans that even when they seem to land a hit, no one notices because everyone's attention is already somewhere else, on you. And here's how you create that kind of unstoppable momentum. You stop trying to win small battles, and you start controlling the bigger picture, the frame. A small battle is personal, emotional, and temporary. A frame is psychological, social, and much more lasting. So what is a frame? It's the unspoken truth people believe about you, whether you say anything or not. And you control it through your calm manner, your strong presence, your consistent actions, and your unwavering refusal to ever play small. If someone attacks you and you reply, they control the frame. If someone mocks you and you defend yourself, they control the frame. If someone tries to undermine you and you rush to fix the damage, you've entered their world. But if you stay silent, if you keep moving, as if the attack never even touched you, if your body language remains steady while theirs becomes anxious, desperate, and scattered, you've just rewritten the frame. Now you're no longer someone reacting to bad talk. You're someone so calm and strong that it makes your opponent look unstable for even bringing your name up. And once that happens, their trustworthiness dies, slowly, publicly, and worst of all, by their own actions. You didn't need to make them look bad. They did it themselves by trying to wound you. Chapter 7, The Final Silence, Making Them Vanish. Now let's go one step deeper. True defeat, Machiavellian style, isn't about taking power from them, it's about making sure they never recover it. And that means hitting them where they don't even know they're weak, their sense of who they are. The final move? You make it seem like they were never a real threat to begin with. How? You change how you act towards them. You stop talking about them as an enemy. You talk about them, if at all, like they're just not important. You remove all emotion, all past history. You even stop acknowledging their existence. And when others bring them up, you say things like, "Oh, I haven't thought about them in a while," or "hope they're doing well," or "not sure what they're up to," or you simply say you have no hard feelings and have completely moved on. You don't say it with bitterness. You say it with genuine disinterest. Because nothing is more psychologically painful than someone who tried desperately to harm you, and then learns they didn't even make a lasting mark on your story. Their attacks weren't memorable, their words weren't damaging, their presence wasn't important to your journey. They weren't your rival, they were just a lesson. And when others hear you speak that way, not with meanness, but with quiet indifference, they don't just respect you, they feel sorry for your opponent. That's the final collapse. Not losing power, but losing meaning. And there's no coming back from that. Because now the people who once watched the conflict unfold are watching you rise and watching them simply vanish, all without a single direct attack. You never fought. You never lowered yourself. You never chased revenge. You simply made them realize that trying to destroy you wasn't just useless, it was the very thing that destroyed them. This is the final act, the quiet grand finale. You resisted the urge to fight. You denied them the satisfaction of getting an angry reaction from you. You stayed calm, strong, and composed. And now there's only one thing left to do: disappear. Not in defeat, but in a victory so complete, so untouchable, that your opponent begins to wonder if they even imagined the fight at all. Because true unraveling without direct attack isn't just about making someone look bad in public. It's about taking away the oxygen of their importance until they suffocate in your silence. And silence, when used by someone truly powerful, isn't an absence. It's a form of deep control. Machiavelli knew the most feared people weren't those who fought every single battle. They were the ones you upset just once, and then you never got a second chance to deal with them, because their revenge wasn't loud noise, it was complete exclusion. They didn't slam doors in your face, they simply stopped opening them. That's your ultimate weapon. You don't send a message, you become the message. You show up at higher levels. You move in better circles. You connect with people who've never even heard of your opponent. You operate in a completely different world. They can't reach, can't understand, can't enter. You stop being a player on their field. You become a different sport entirely. And that's what truly breaks them. Because they thought the game was about who had more status, you made it about a lasting impact. They thought the game was about who looked better. You showed that true power is felt even when you're not there. And now the people who once watched you closely have started watching you quietly. They don't comment, they just observe. They try to understand the deeper reason behind your actions because something inside them knows you didn't just survive the attempt to harm you, you used it. You let it make you stronger, you let it make you clearer about your path, you let it show you who was never meant to be in your inner circle in the first place. Because sometimes your opponents aren't there to stop you, they're there to reveal who you truly are when no one is cheering, when your good name is under attack, when your name is dragged into bad situations, when people talk about you with envy or fear. And you say nothing. You don't panic, you don't defend, you don't flinch. You just grow stronger by doing more. You win by choosing what to ignore. You overcome by never stepping into the mud. And in the end, they're left with nothing, because the audience they tried to impress is now following you. The group they once controlled is now interested in your ideas. And the bad story they tried to write about you has been replaced by your silence, which echoes longer and louder than any angry speech ever could. That is Machiavellian success. Not with violence or public drama, but with careful planning, quietly, and by rising above it all. You are no longer someone they can hurt because you've made yourself someone they can't even reach. The path to this kind of profound strength, where you can neutralize adversaries without a single direct attack, is a demanding one. It requires unwavering calm and deep strategic understanding. If today's insights have resonated with your inner wisdom, you're ready to wield this unseen power. Hit the like button if this deep dive into Machiavellian strategies has unveiled new perspectives for you. Your support is crucial. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Your journey to mastering unseen influence begins now. I'll see you in the next exploration.